Hello, guys. Good evening. Good morning. We have like a special session today. We have a guest here. It's Vilen. So Vilen is tremendous client, friend by now, and he joined our program eCommerce Scaling Secrets like years ago. Tremendous guy. You know, I've learned myself a lot from you. But he scaled his business, and recently he sold it, 7-figure exit. He has NDA, so we cannot go into like a lot of details, but
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 22, so I'm just about to turn 23.
22. And when you started the business, how old you were?
The e-com stuff I started 3 years ago, a bit less than 3 years ago, so about 2 years and 10 months-ish.
He has this like very cool template. Just comment template if you want him to break it down for you. It's very cool template, pretty much that allows him to be productive, whatever his goal is. He shared it with me, and it's incredible. It's very simple, but at the same time, very powerful. So just comment template. Vilen just came in. You live in LA, right? No.
Yeah. So I have two places. I have a place in Reno, and I have a place in Sunnyvale, California.
So Sunnyvale was in?
It's in the Bay Area, so around San Francisco, about an hour away from
nice.
San Francisco. So yeah, I just go back and forth pretty consistently.
Nice. So how did you start the business like in the first place?
So I originally moved to United States about 4.5 years ago, and then I went
From where?
To Armenia.
From
I'm
Armenia.
Yeah, it's a tiny country. It's about 1/10 of the size of Florida. There's just 3 million people there. So I went to college, and by the time I was about to drop out, I already tested out a bunch of stuff.
Like different opportunity, like different money making opportunities.
Direct. I was trying YouTube ads, chatbots. I tried to have an online training business, like become an online trainer, and by that time I was reading about a book every 2 weeks. So I had about 30 books under my belt by that time, but I didn't know what to do with them.
What kind of books?
Oh, very, very specific. It was either sales, marketing, corp structure, or business. So taxes, structure. So like very, very specific. So by that time, I already knew how to, I spent about a few $100s on Facebook ads, on different chatbots and stuff, and I learned a bunch of things. So when it was time for e-com, I just went online. I was like, okay, let me try this e-com thing. I went online again, like watched a bunch of videos, saw a bunch of your videos as well. So and then it kind of clicked. By that time, when I first got myself on the very first day that I launched, I'm like, okay, I know how to take this from here on. So it grew pretty fast.
So you started like you had success like from day one.
Yeah, it was my first product. Yeah, so it was my very first product, very first store, but the failures kind of happened a year and a half before that. Like the Rocky cutscene was the year and a half before that, when I was testing a bunch of stuff.
Okay, so even like from those like different opportunities that you have tried that didn't work out, you still learn something.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Every time, like after like 2-3 months of work, I would just go back to, because I write down every day what I work on the day before.
You so like journaling?
Not journaling, just a to-do list for the following day, right?
Yeah.
So I would just go back and look at like, okay, so I've done all this stuff, like, what's wrong?
Are you okay like reflecting on the things like you fucked up on?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, looking back, I never even thought about, failing or stopping, or it's like, okay, I can see all these people are doing these things. Like, I can do that, Why not? So if it will take me a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. Like, what else do I have to do? Am I just gonna waste my time? No. And I was enjoying it. I was constantly learning about new stuff, and I keep doing that. And it's one of the few things that I honestly enjoy, like learning about stuff.
What do you think is working better? Like putting a pressure on yourself? Okay, like because I think on one side it's like you think like, oh, this guy, I have to make like my first million this year. I have to make my first million this year, and then you're putting all this pressure on yourself. You kind of like optimizing yourself for that like outcome, but at the same time, you're becoming vulnerable to all of the like shiny objects, right? Because
but here's the Yes, so I do believe staying under pressure, putting a lot of pressure on yourself. It's the way I grew up. It's the way competitive sports work. It's how everything works, you know. But in the first year and a half of when I first started, right, my only goal was to make $1 online profitably. Funny enough, the first profitable dollar that I made was from this business.
Oh, really?
On the very first day, I spent some money on ads. I got one sale. I removed the cost of goods, and I made $4 in profit. And I'm thinking to myself, and the day is not over. In the next few hours, I went unprofitable the first day because I had a bit more ad spend than that. But I was sitting, I'm thinking, okay, well, if I shut down the ads and if I fulfill this one product, I've made $4 in profit. This can work.
That's such a valuable like mindset, you know, kind of like valuing those like small wins, you know, when they happen. Because if you can do like, I mean, I'm thinking the same way. Like, if we can do 50 million, I can do 500 million, you know? Like, it's the same. It's like, it's validating to you that it's possible.
The goal that I had, other than the $1, was just to read a book every 2 weeks. So that was the other goal. I kind of attached the goals to learning.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, if I read a book every 2 weeks, right? If I read my 50 pages or whatever, like this was a good day, you know? Even if I haven't made any money today, I haven't made any money yesterday, but I've learned. So I'm kind of moving into the right direction.
So initially you didn't put a lot of pressure on yourself. I mean, that is not a lot of pressure. Is that a lot of pressure?
I guess no. I guess no. But it was. You know what? The pressure was to stay consistent. The pressure was I have to do this because there were times where I hated it. You know, I didn't want to do it.
So you just wanted like means to make like higher, like means to make income.
Yeah. Well, the idea was like something like this. I was like, well, I don't have a degree. I don't know the language that well. I don't know the bureaucracy. I probably cannot get a job that I want, and I don't have the skills to get the job that I want. So I'm like, probably I can do something myself, maybe.
Hey guys, people have been asking me how we scale to multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures per month without getting shut down on Facebook, and we have a very sophisticated solution for this that I want to share with you, but it's just like too valuable to give away for free. So if you guys want this solution, just book a call with one of my team members and we'll show you exactly what it is and how it works, and we'll see if that's a good fit for you and for your business. So just book a call with my team member, we'll share it with you so you can scale your business to multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures per month without getting shut down on Facebook, without having inconsistency, and with high profitability. So just book a call with my team and I'll see you there.
I learned that who you are now would not be the person that can get the goals that you want. The people that lose, the people that win, they both have goals. That means it all comes down to the type of person that you are. The hardest part for me was just to be the type of person that would get what I want. Not the numbers, not the ads, because if you are that type of person, you will figure out the ads. You will figure out this. For me, like I'll give you an example. Let's say your ads are not working, right? So if you are the type of person that can put in 12 hours of work for 6 days a week on your ads, just the ads for a whole year, you think it's reasonable that your ads will work? Probably right.
Right? If you are like every day you're trying to learn something, maybe you did something wrong. I mean, you're making like small
what I
adjustments.
mean by just on ads, it's like learn about sales, learn about marketing, learn about the customer, right? So the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
If you do for a whole year, can you get an ad that's profitable? Probably yes. So it's more about being the person that can do that instead of putting the goal as find a profitable ad.
So did you sell a brand or a dropshipping store?
Yeah, so the story from that was I started with dropshipping and the product had the brand's name on it. So it was a kind of like a branded dropshipping, but then I pretty much outgrew the brand and
if Apple was on AliExpress and you start selling Apple, and at some point you start selling more of the Apple products than that supplier himself, and like so that's pretty much the Vilen situation. So what's the difference between like drop shipping and a brand?
Drop shipping, you have to think about it as just a way of fulfillment.
Yeah, exactly. So you
As
don't
far as I
you
can
don't you
tell.
don't hold like a lot of
Yeah,
inventory.
you still have the. You actually do, you know.
If you prepare, yeah. If
It's like you're going through Chinese New Year, like you're a drop shipping business.
Yeah.
You might want to get some inventory, you know, because
Would be
then
smart.
COVID. Okay, so the first few months I was doing everything by myself, and I've tried to get 2 more like customer support reps, but this one guy was like, "I think I can handle it. I can handle everything. I can handle everything. I want the hours." I was like, "Okay, I have the hours." So that's how we pretty much. He was taking everything.
So okay. So what aspects of he was managing like fulfillment?
No, just the customer service, right? So all the chargebacks, disputes, comments, messages, and email.
And then the video editing, like.
So at the end, it kind of grew, right? So at first I was doing everything. Then you get the person that's doing the customer support.
Yeah.
Then you get before that you get the fulfillment agent. You get him doing all the fulfillment stuff, right? Then you get a person that's managing content. Before that probably some accounting, right? To prepare your stuff. Then a person that gets the content, the person that does the video editing, right? And then you get a media buyer, right? So it kind of grows in steps. So I think I described pretty similar how it went.
So was that like basically like one full-time employee?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. All the other guys were contractors that weren't working full time.
How much you made in revenue last year?
What was it? 7.4 million.
7.4 million. It's like revenue per employee is like what? Like, oh man, that's what margin, more or less?
Above 25, so
25% profit
25.
margins. It's pretty good.
Yeah, could have been better.
What's your favorite mistake in advertising and why?
Pretty much, it's all about the ad and the customer and how you sell the product to that customer. It has nothing to do with how you structure your campaigns, although it helps, right? Good campaign structure, good ad sets, good amount of ads, the testing process, like that helps. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is who's your customer? What's the product? What is the customer looking for in that product? Like the benefits, what they're not looking for to get, right? And then what's the ad that will get their attention and it will tell them about, oh, these are the benefits. This is what you're not looking for. So this is the perfect product for you. So the biggest mistake I would say was like focusing too much on the Facebook internals, tactics, and not enough on the ad itself. The biggest growth that I've noticed is where I went into the reviews, I went into the comments, I put a survey for customers, right? Why did you buy the product? And I learned all this stuff about the product, and then I created ads that were hitting those selling points, and everything just blew up. I was looking at a bunch of big brands, not too big, direct response brands. I noticed that all the ads were exactly the same. Like they had the same structure. The clips were different. The pictures were different. But the selling points were almost the same. And it's like, you want this, and then there's 10 different ways to sell that thing. 10 different ways to structure the sentence. More than that, right? And I noticed that like they have 10 ads, but all of them underneath, it's exactly the same thing. So that's the way you structure your ads. You have the main. I had one main a few, not one, but a few main templates that were working, and I was just rotating a few variables, right? And if you dissected all of the ads that I was running, I tested over 1,000 ads, right? But if you dissected all of them, vast majority of them would have been very similar.
Even then, right, following the same structure, kind of like following these best practices, you still had like what percentage of the ads like actually performing?
Oh, like if you can find 1 out of 50, that's good.
1 out of 50. Can you repeat that like louder?
If you can find 1 out of 50 ad,
people,
and all of them are exactly very similar, right? That's good.
I think sometimes people underestimate the amount of work on the creative side, that needs to be done. Like
I'm thinking like I want a 10x. So what should I do? Okay, I'll have 5 brands doing like twice as much, right? I have to do this, and that. Then I'll have this teams. Then I have all this structure, right?
Yeah.
And then I saw your video, and you had spent 30K on one campaign and brought in 120K in revenue. And I don't know the margin, but let's say I was like, okay, well, 25% cost of goods, 60K profit, right? And I'm like, this guy made 60K profit in 1 month from one campaign. It's not the product. It's not the website. It's not the multiple brands, multiple businesses. It's the ad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, then if I can create an ad, I can scale to that level. And what do I do to get an ad? Well, test like a madman, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I shifted my focus on testing a lot of creatives. And then as I was testing them, I started to learn about the customers, and just everything just took off. So that was the biggest growth.
So you started this like what, 2019?
Yeah, May 2019.
How much volume you've done that year?
550K in sales, that 2019.
Okay, you've been profitable?
Yeah, so it was about 110K profit, 130.
You already got like Silicon Valley salary.
Yeah, well.
And then next year?
But I mean, 99% of it stayed in the business account.
Yeah, for sure. Then next year?
Next year I had the goal of 300K profit, but I did 3.8 million in sales and slightly over 1 million in profit.
Oh, I remember you messaged me then.
Yeah. I wanted 300. The goal was 300K profit. And also one thing, I never looked at revenue. I only looked at the profit. I don't care about the revenue. It's like I care about the profit, and then when I focused on that, the margins kind of stabilized in itself. Because for me, I figured out that the 25%-ish was the most optimal, where I could get the most profit. Yeah. And just revenue just happened in and of itself. But it's like, would you take a business that does 3 times less but is 5 times more profit? It's like, yeah, you would. It's less complex.
Yeah, less people.
And you can weather storms. Like you can weather the ups and downs of something changes. You lose 2% here. The Facebook goes bad, and you lose 10% for the next month or something. So yeah, I was only focusing on profit.
Testing the creative. So yeah, testing the creatives. Like, how do you actually do it? Like in a tactical way.
So you have a campaign that's called creative testing, and in that campaign, the only targeting that you do is you go broad, but still to whatever's pretty much working best for you, right? So in the beginning, you can start with just one LLA that's working for you. Right? That will be your targeting. The idea behind it is that when you're testing creatives, you don't want the audience to be the issue where the creatives don't work. Yeah. So you want to remove that audience variable. Exactly. And then one audience in one ad set, and then I was testing 3 or 4 creatives in that ad set, and the difference between those creatives is one variable. So you can actually test what's working and what's not. And then, so you test on that level, and you test many of those. Let's say you have 10 ad sets over time, not in one day, like in let's say 2 weeks. 10 ad sets, so you have 40 different creatives. Some of them will have terrible results. Some of them will have high ROAS. Once you find the one that has high ROAS, now you duplicate it into 1 or 2 campaigns. Usually I would duplicate them into campaigns that were working bad at that time. And the idea was that if it's actually a winner creative, then it will elevate the performance of the campaign. So that was the second phase. And now once that worked, then you duplicate it to everywhere. So it went into like 3 stages. First creative tests, then the second one 1 or 2 CBOs. Yeah. And then the last one was just duplicate throughout the whole account and just try to spend as much as possible. And you said like usually you'd get like 1 out of 50 that would actually kind of be winning creatives, winning ads. Yeah. Wow. What variable, like, do you often test like ad copy?
Or like once you found, let's
Pictures.
say you're winning picture, like
Pictures.
the creative, the visual
Yeah,
part, like that's
yeah.
where you
Yeah.
focus like 99% of your effort.
Yeah, yeah. That was it. Was the steps were like the picture, then the creative,
You haven't
and the headline.
you haven't seen like a lot of kind of like impact from like changing the ad copy once you found some your control.
Well, once you find your winner creative, an easy way to make more kind of duplicate the success would be just to change the copy slightly.
Yeah.
Not too much, slightly. But that's just kind of working from both ways of it still sells to the customer, and for Facebook's eyes, it's a new creative.
How much money would you spend on testing for a particular ad?
$30, something. Well, here's the idea. I was putting 4 ads in one ad set, $100 for that ad set for a day, and if it was a creative, you would tell it from the beginning. That's how it worked in my ad account. Now, obviously, it's different for every ad account, but that's what worked for me. So I would just test rapidly, and if it was a winner, you would notice. I've never had something that spent $50, had 0 sales, and then turned into a winner.
Okay, if it's a loser, it's a loser from day one.
Yeah.
How do you craft converting video ads?
Go into your competitors. Go into find the ads that are working the best.
How do you know?
Have the most engagement. Have the most comments. Have the most likes. If you don't want to get ads by, which I don't know why you shouldn't, but go to their ads library and it says at the top, this ad has been used this many times. Right?
How many using so many like campaigns?
If it's the highest one in their account, probably it's a winner, right? And then just dissect that ad. Just dissect it. It's like, okay, it's a 30-second video, this many clips. The first clip is person does this. Second clip is, okay, this is what they do. Dissect their captions, what's what, and then just restructure it for yourself. So you can have a different creative, but underneath it's the exact same ad.
Same structure.
Yet pay attention to ads that you see on a day-to-day basis. Everything is the same.
What is more important, the quality clips that you put in the video, or the video structure, meaning the plot and subtitles?
Structure and the subtitles.
So even more than like the interesting.
I mean, look at the viral videos. Like, there's so many terrible quality viral videos that sell.
Do you have your own team that creates 50 ads, or outsource some service for it? Who do you recommend for outsourcing?
I was the one that was creating those ads.
Shit.
And it didn't took me that long.
What did you do? Like
at all.
Adobe Premiere? Like, what did you use?
No. Well,
Photoshop?
No. You just download your UGC. You get customers to send you videos and pictures from in return for a percentage off from their next order.
So you would source a lot of content actually from
the
your customers.
customers.
Just like, hey, you want to like 20%, 50% off, whatever.
Yeah,
like
from your next order, just leave us a review.
What would you offer? Like, how much percentage?
I think it was buy one get one free. So like same as 50% off, something like that.
That's okay. And so a lot of people would actually send you content?
Yeah, they would send you pictures and surprisingly, the ones that are low quality, they work.
Because like you're scrolling and like, and when you see the ads, right? Like when you know it's an ad, like you just like instantly want to skip it.
Yeah.
And now this one doesn't look like an ad. And now it like grabs your attention for that like half a second. And that half a second might be the difference between like person not even like, seeing your ad and actually buying.
Yeah, 100%. And here's another thing. If you're scrolling to your feed, if you're a person who uses Instagram, like personally, right? When you're scrolling through your feed and something gets your attention, pay attention to what gets your attention. Why did you stop and look at that thing?
That's such a good advice.
What's different? And it doesn't have to be an ad, but it's a viral piece of content, right? So what's different about it? Because usually on the explore page, they're only the top ones, right? You only get the best ones. But if it's it's uncommon amongst uncommon, right?
Yeah.
Then why did it get your attention? So just like 90% of the work that happens in Facebook Ads Manager actually happen outside of Facebook Ads Manager. That's the part where you sit down and you dissect the ads. That's the part where you sit down and you structure your ad. You structure the copy. You pay attention to the words of what you're saying, how you're saying it. Is it flowing? Is it, you know? So, and then once you have that, then you create the ad on the Facebook ads.
That's such a good piece of advice and such logical. The question for you is like, why most people don't do it?
It's hard. It's hard to focus, and it's boring.
It's boring, right?
Yeah. Do the boring work. Vast majority of people would just lose the motivation, would be like, oh, this, you know, it's didn't work. Didn't meant to happen. If you are the type of person who's like relentless, who can work without getting tired, who can push through everything, right? Then just take that, apply to, let's say you want to become a sportsman. Now, obviously, at the top level, there's genetics, there's etc. Right?
Yeah.
But you would be surprised how far you would go. And this applies to every single individual. It's like, oh, I can't do that. It's like, okay, you might not be able to do that because you don't have the genetic capacity to get there. But if you try your best, you would get farther than you think you would have. And it's always a striving goal, you know? You can always be more disciplined. You can always be more hardworking. You can always be more professional, right? So it's a ongoing process. But if you keep that in mind, if you work 12 hours a day and you don't get the goal, like, that's fine, right? Just keep working like that. It's not gonna happen in a day. But if you're the type of person, that's another character trait. You don't get discouraged. You don't get discouraged from the failures. That's a character trait, all right? If it's a small failure, it didn't happen in a month, it didn't happen in 6 months, it didn't happen in 1 year. But I'm the type of person that I don't get discouraged.
Wow,
so
that's such a good point.
Again, comes back to the type of person you are and the character traits. So I have a few principles here. I'll read this through, and this goes a lot deeper than it is. But
guys, comment template. We can send it over to you, but then make sure you actually not just print it, but actually using it daily.
The first one is like work ethic. That's the first one for a reason, right? Everything is BS unless you do the work. It cannot happen otherwise. You have to do the work. So work ethic. If you can't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. There's no such thing as doing everything. There's no such thing as doing the partying, right? Doing the drinking and then going back to work and being 100%. It just doesn't happen, right? So you have to sacrifice some stuff to actually get what you want. But if you can't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. You will rest when you make it, not now. It's like, oh, I've worked for 4 hours. I'll go have some rest. No. No. It's like, oh, I've worked 7 days. I've worked for a whole month. I had so much hard work. No.
You need to rest. On the other side, right? You need to rest to recover.
Well, that's the very last part of this. Rest and sleep is as important as work, but rest so you can work. So be mindful of the rest to work, because that's the whole point of rest, to work.
Yeah, getting like enough sleep.
Yeah. And then the last part of the work ethic is focus on today's 24 hours and follow the schedule. It's like all you have is today's 24 hours. Like yesterday, that's gone. Tomorrow, who knows what will happen. And it's good to look forward, to plan. It's good to look back and see what you did wrong. But like all you have is the 24 hours. And the reason about why 24 hours and like not like a minute or a second is because let's say you waste your morning and it's like 11 a.m. or whatever. And it's like, today is wasted. No, today is now wasted. You wasted the first part of the day, but you still have the rest of the day, right? So you still have the rest. And if you waste that, now you've wasted the day. But that's past. So focus on today's 24 hours. Just get the work done.
That's just one, right? Wow.
Second one is stay organized. Keep your room, office, computer, phone, gallery, emails, notes, to-dos, etc. organized. I can't even tell you like how many people just work in mess. Like they have 5 email accounts, they have 6,000 unread emails. They have 7 to-do lists. They have 8 goal sheets. All right,
Apps,
they have
apps on the
they
phone.
have a bazillion apps on their phone. They have one same picture 8,000 times in their gallery. Right, it's just like clean it up. They work in a mess. Their office is a mess. Like their computer is a mess, and their mind is a mess. Just like clean everything up, man. Don't work in a mess, because then your mind is a mess. Third one is don't waste time. Always be time conscious. It's always ticking regardless if you're moving forward or not. So here's a big thing. It's like people say, oh, my work hour is worth $100, right? $50 or whatever. Well, here's a mind fuck. The hour that you sleep on Saturday at 5 a.m. is also worth the same amount as you're working on, let's say, Monday, 3 p.m. So if you work for an hour, and let's say it's a productive hour, right? And it's like, oh, my hour is worth this much. I worked that, and I got it. But then you go and waste an hour, let's say, on Friday at 8 p.m. You've wasted that hour. It's the same hour. The time is the same. You know what I mean? Let's say you make whatever in a day. Your time is not worth 8 working hours, like divided by 8, like whatever you make divided by 8. That's not what it is. Your time is worth that number divided by 24. That's your true worth of time.
Wow.
So if you waste an hour on Saturday, you've lost that much, right? And again, going back to the resting part, it's important. It's very important to rest and rejuvenate, but be mindful of resting. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen when you get distracted. You're like middle of the day, you're like, I'll rest for an hour. No, that's a wasted hour. You didn't plan for it. But if you plan for it, it's like you know that, okay, time is going to tick. I'm not going to do anything during that hour, but I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to rest so that I can do more work. Be fast, cut distraction ruthlessly. What I mean by be fast, if you actually internalize that 10 minutes of work, productive work, it equals the same as 10 minutes of wasting time, then you're very conscious of where you waste time, and you will try to optimize the time that you spend on stupid shit. If you're resting, if you're taking a break, if you're going on a vacation, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying be mindful that you're doing that. You have to wake up at 7 and go to work, and you wake up at 8. You know what I mean? That's an hour that wasn't planned that you wasted.
As you said, what's important is just to be aware of that. Okay, I wasted, it's fine, now let's get back on track, right? So that's fine. But like, if you're not aware of that, and then you kind of like just denying that, and that subconsciously, that just eating
and
you,
then
because
if you do the same thing, then it becomes a habit. So if there isn't a line, once you have one foot over the line of whatever it is, then it gets blurry. The line gets blurry. And then you go a bit to the right as well, a bit to the side as well. And then the next thing you notice, you're running, aka you're wasting a lot of time, and you don't even realize. So it has to be a line of like, okay, so I'm planning my day. I'm waking up at 7, I'm starting work at 8, right? That's the deadline. 1 minute later, you're late.
I mean, I had such a big problem with this, I would have this fucking guilt. You know what I mean? I would have guilt I would work like 7 days a week, and then like if I would take like a day off, like I would just punish myself. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I think that's not healthy. Like that's not good either.
But if you switch it, it's like I have to rest so that I can work more.
Few words about ESS, about the program.
Oh yeah. So going back. So I didn't
pay him for this. Like, I mean, he's too rich, like, for me to pay him.
Definitely give him. The most valuable parts of ESS for me was the quote unquote small details of, again, if you're buying ESS thinking that you're gonna see how to click this button on Shopify, it's in there. But for me personally, I didn't buy it for that. I was specifically looking for, okay, so what's the structure of the ad? How do you test it? Who's this person that can help me with this guy? Whom I can find, who's the good supplier? What's the template to get your ad account back? What's the structure to when you're traveling not to get your stuff shut down, right? So I was looking about for those specific points, and every single one of those has been profitable. That's just one thing. That's just one thing. So it's been, for me, it's been super helpful. It's been very, very helpful. Even selling the business, it was your connections. You introduced me to the guys, phenomenal guys. Probably wouldn't have done that if I didn't.
Would have done that maybe like a few months later. You wouldn't.
But I mean, it's been very helpful. Yeah, you don't know. So that's been tremendously helpful. 100%. Yeah, but it's 100% worth it. If there's somebody here that's not an ESS, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Get in there.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us. Just comment template so we can send it over to you. Or just, if you're like on Instagram, just comment like, just DM me template. I'll send you this template from Vilen. What's the name of Instagram?
So it's VIL_GM.
And this guy,
thank you for having me.
Next time we have it, like, you'll exit for 100 or so?
I hope so. We'll see how much this will take me.
Man,
you know,
are you updated? You know, it's like it's just like you just change your numbers here. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.